Hey, it's great to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Sorry about that.
Thanks for willing to talk.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I could just jump around a little bit before getting to Hugo.
Yeah, sure, sure.
So just to start off, was acting professionally something that you always wanted to do?
Yes. So I'm doing my parents' life in reverse. So
Okay.
basically, my mom was a Broadway dancer and my dad was a jazz musician. And then my mom transitioned into working with special needs children, and my dad transitioned into IT. I went from working with special needs children into IT and then into voiceover. So I'm doing the backwards lifespan of my parents. But while I was working with special needs children teaching, now, full disclosure, I didn't have my teaching cert, but what I had was a sub cert and I was a teaching assistant and
Okay.
they would just use me wherever they needed because I could handle any of the curriculum in the building. And they were like, "You should go get your teach cert," and I'm like, "I don't want to. I want to do voiceover." So I started like working at voiceover, and it took a long time, especially due to how busy I am. Um, and eventually, as you can see now, it sort of transitioned into that.
Was it always like specifically voiceover, or was it just acting in general?
No, it was specifically voiceover. I even wrote my college capstone thesis on voice acting. And
Okay.
this was like a while ago. So there wasn't a lot of data. There wasn't like all the websites that we have now, all the information. I don't even think Twitter even existed back then. So I had to go off books and I had to interview people who owned radio stations and stuff like that just to get the data to write my thesis paper.
Mhm. What was the first professional voiceover job that you got then?
Mm. First professional one. I want to say that my very first one was Crimson Spires. Crimson Spires is like a visual novel game.
Always been a like a big anime person too. Like,
Oh, yeah. I have behind me is the Miyazaki, and then on both sides of me, I have two more Miyazaki wall scrolls. Though I consider that more like film animation than like anime per se. But
mhm.
oh yeah, anime was pretty much the reason I wanted to get into voiceover anyway.
Okay. Is there a special story of how you got involved with the Code Geass new series?
I I remember auditioning for a bunch of things for the studio, but you never know what you're going to get or if anything, or even necessarily what you're even auditioning for. And then all of a sudden it always happens randomly. It's always random where
Mhm.
you'll be just going through your email like, "Oh, I got to do that audition. I got to," and then it'll pop up and you'll go, "Oh my God, I booked what is this? What's the role? What's the anime?" And sometimes they don't even tell you until you get to the studio to start recording.
Did you take the dubbing easier, or was it harder to get used to?
It it's challenging. It was hard to get used to, but it helps when you've had some kind of music or musical theater in your background because a lot of it is tempo based. So it's
Hmm.
easier to follow along because you'll hear the words in Japanese or in Chinese or whatever you happen to be dubbing, and you can hear the da 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 da. So you know that's kind of how the mouth flaps are going to go. So you can just sort of adjust as needed.
Hmm. Are you also for a lot of the characters that you do, are you using more of your natural voice?
It's touch and go. It's touch and go. I did a couple of games that are way outside of my range. I don't think it ever came out. I don't know if it ever will, so I can't really mention it. But there are some where I had to like shoot really high up into my register to do it. And oh, I know one I can mention. One of the my favorites. It wasn't one that paid a lot. It wasn't like anything that's gonna be famous or anything. But I'm in a pinball game called
Okay.
Legends of Valhalla, where I had to play Jormungandr and Dullahan, who's like the headless horseman, as well as a bunch of
Mhm.
like ogres and goblins and stuff like that. So that one I got to like go into all the different ranges that I wanted, and that's actually one of my favorite jobs that I've ever done. I have a good friend who passed that I miss. I miss him dearly, and he was a pinball fan. He would go and do competitions and stuff like that. So I was like so excited to get that because I couldn't wait to tell him. He actually got to play the game. I haven't even played it yet. I haven't even found it yet. But
Oh,
one of these days, I'm gonna find it, and I'm really excited. It's to the point where I'm like, maybe I'll just buy the pinball machine.
mhm. Are you comfortable hearing yourself in projects then?
Yeah, yeah. It's a weird thing for acting. You when you first start doing it, you're like, ugh, is that what I sound like? Oh no, oh, and then you just kind of get used to it, and it almost becomes like it's you but not you, and you sort of are able to see the waves on your screen, and you can figure out, oh, that's a mouth click, so I got to eliminate that. And you sort of disassociate when you start looking at it professionally. Then you listen to it again and you go, this needs to change. I have to make sure I know where I am, my presence, what the environment is. That wasn't intense enough. This needs to be pulled back. It doesn't sound grounded enough. And you you distance yourself the more you do it,
Mhm.
or at least for
Kind
me,
of,
anyways.
kind of related to that too. Were you surprised at the whole fandom reaction to your performance as Hugo?
Mm-mm. No, I was not ready for that. Um, when you get a role, you never know exactly what it's going to be. Well, for all I knew, Hugo was just going to be like a one-off character in a small scene, and then poof, gone. And that would be it. You were there for the scene or the adventure itself, and then that was it. I had no idea he was going to be as popular as he was, and I was overwhelmed. I was like, my hand was shaking and everything.
Was that a pretty general audition when it came up too?
Yeah, because they generally come in like batches.
Hmm.
They'll say audition for this, and this. Pick which ones are the best for you, and you just kind of roll with it. And I almost didn't audition for Hugo.
Oh,
I almost didn't audition for him because I'm like, his voice is probably higher than what my register is because I have a bassier, more resonant voice. And I was like, So when I auditioned for him, I actually used my normal voice. It was down here. And then they sort of gave me like a callback, so to speak. So they're like, can you pitch it up?" So that's when I pitched it up for Hugo. So it went from let me see. Um Forgive me for stealing your moonlight to forgive me for stealing the moonlight. It was just a slight pitch up was all it ended up being.
hmm.
But
Was that Amber directing you or somebody else?
it was all of them. It was
Okay.
everybody. I got everybody. And they're awesome.
Hmm.
All of them. Uh I can't like talk about all the other directors I've worked with, but this particular crew has a specialty in making you feel welcomed, making you feel comfortable, making the experience as an actor very relaxed and natural. And you don't always necessarily get that. But for them, it's almost like a second nature sort of thing. They're, I can't speak highly enough about all of them. And Hoyo. Hoyo itself was awesome. They treated me very kindly, very well.
Considering how more unique the way that he talks is, was that a direction thing, or was it partial to something that you came up with, or was it collaborative?
That was when I first started and I did the audition, it was just sort of what came out.
Oh,
I looked at him and I saw, and a lot of my acting is based on physical posture. It helps me to get into character, so I might stand like this. Hugo's stance, oh no, Hugo's stance is this. So when I'm acting, I do this. When I'm talking, I do this or I do this. And he even has the one pose where he's like this. So my hand literally goes like this when I see him on screen like that.
what did you think when you saw his design for the first time?
Oh, he's a stylish man. He is a very stylish gentleman. I loved it. And then then of course there was the one photo where they're like, here's the original image, and then they sort of enhanced Hugo a bit. It's the one where he's like leaned over looking back, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Could you easily relate to him about anything?
The heartbreak is definitely the heartbreaking moments, like when he's on the steps and lycaon sees him, and he's surrounded by the bodies and nobody believes him, and his heart's like breaking. You pull from past things in life that may have happened, and there's always a bit of the actor in there, whether they realize it or not.
What do you think about his relationship with Lycan then?
Complicated. That is a very complicated relationship. Um, I really hope we get to see where it goes in the future. Even though they're kind of on an even footing now, I think that he's still a little bit bitter about the betrayal, even though they're like talking again and working their way through all the issues. He still trusts him. He probably trusts him. Between like him and Vivian are the two people he trusts more than absolutely anybody.
Right.
Hence, the whole scene where he's like, "Don't come in until I'm done," having my meltdown due to the hallucinations. He didn't. He picked Lycon over everybody else, so that level of trust is still there. He cares about Lycon deeply. That is someone who will always be in his life, whether he's in his physical presence or not. I think Vivian is probably, from my perspective, anyways, when I was looking at it and thinking about how it would affect Hugo, was this was his chance to try to make some of the things right. Not that, it's not making things right. It's like, I won't allow what happened in the past to happen again with Vivian.
Hmm.
He feels responsible for Vivian, which is why in the one scene he asks the manager, please look after Vivian because I'm about to do something very reckless and possibly very stupid.
Did his story arc end up going where you kind of expected it to?
I didn't know what was going to happen. You never know. So when they um, give you the script, you only get it in chunks, and they don't necessarily tell you what's going to happen next. So, when he was evil, I only knew a little bit of what happened after. I didn't know how everything was going to resolve. I'm very happy with how everything resolved, especially because it was so fun to do. Um, but I really hope it's not over yet. I really hope it's
Mhm.
not.
Is there a default line that you have to get into his headspace?
What line do I use? It usually switches up, but the one I used the most was, um, I think it's time for a reunion, traitor. That's the one I would use to help get me into like his headspace and his character.
Mhm. Do you think that Hugo is also the darkest headspace you've had to go for voiceover so far?
No,
No.
no. I've had some darker roles. Uh, in the Silt Verses, which is a horror podcast that delves into some very dark, uh, twisted horror. It's like a think of cosmic horror sort of
Mhm.
style. That's the Silt Verses. Loved doing the Silt Verses. Will always hold a special place in my heart. Always. I got to work with some amazing people. I got to work with people all over the world. It was it was phenomenal. And I got to actually, like, we would do a Zoom call like we're having here, and they would be on screen too. We would turn our cameras off, obviously, but you get to act across from someone, and that's very, very rare. Very
Mhm.
rare in voiceover.
That was kind of related to that. That was one thing that a couple people were asking from the fandom for Hugo was if you've had very much interaction with the other voice actors in Zenless.
Oh, I
Much.
wish. I wish. Actually, I'm very curious what would have happened, how the performance would have changed if it was all the actors in the scene working together, acting off of each other, because you always feed off of each other's energy. Or someone might do something a little funny, so that might change the entire way you do the scene afterwards. Or the writers might go, "No, that's a great idea. Let's switch that." Not necessarily that that's what would happen for ZZZ, but it's just one of those things that I would have loved it. I would have loved doing it.
What do you think about his like date scenes, the whole all the like trust events with Hugo?
Those are my favorite. Those are the ones where I get to have the most fun. Basically, you just sit there and go, "Be flirty." Okay, all right, I'll be flirty. Let's do it. And then you just have fun with it. Um, I don't know if I'm sure it's been talked about because you've interviewed how many people? Like over 300, something like that now.
Yeah, you're my 359th.
Congratulations. That is a serious achievement.
Thank you.
Good for you. That's awesome. Um, you've probably already talked about it, but when you do voice acting for a game like this, you don't get the script 95% of the time until 5 minutes before you start, if
Yeah.
that. So they literally put the script up, say, "This is the scene, this is your backstory. Give me an A and a B." If you ever hear the lingo, "Give me an AB, give me an ABC," that just means do the line three different ways or two different ways. That's all that means.
Mhm.
So you give them an A and a B. And most of the time, most of the video games that you play, it is literally the actor's first or second try at the line. And they'll probably take that and use that. As opposed to, TV actors or movie actors where you do it again and they're like, "No, we're going to change this. No, we're going to do it again." And they get the script before. So most of the performances you see are literally on the spot.
You remember if that was the same case with the big monologue of him imitating lycan?
Yes. Yep. Yep. I can't remember if I did it. I know I definitely flubbed it at least once because it's longer and you're sitting there, you're like, "Eyes, brain, you need to keep up with me." Um, I want to say it was they took the second take. I can't remember. I'll have to I'll have to message them and be like, "Do you remember on this one which one we ended up taking?" That line was fun too because I remember doing it and they're like, "Is that how he would do it?" Yeah, I like it. Let's go with that.
Is there something specifically that you would hope to see for his character?
A beach episode. I think that would be fun for everybody. Just have an
Right.
entire beach episode for everybody. I think it would be a blast.
Do you also play the game?
I want to. I want to so badly. Please, nobody spoil the story. I've done everything I could to not spoil anything but what I know because I want to sit down and play it. The problem is, I don't have enough time to play a game of that volume currently.
Hmm.
It took me a year and a half to beat Final Fantasy 16. It
Okay.
oh, it took me forever. To be fair, I did manage to get to Blitz one game, and that was Clair Obscur. I got to blitz through that in like a week. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And Clair Obscur ended up in probably my top 5 of all time.
Mhm. Uh, maybe this might be hard for you to answer then, but are there any other characters in Zenless that you think you relate to a lot?
I don't know yet because I only know the
Okay.
ones that I've interacted with. If we ever chat again after I play it, and one day I'm going to, then I'll get back to you. The current one that I know the most is Bernice because
Yeah.
she ends up on my feed all the time, and mostly it's weather based where it'll be hot out, and then it's just pictures of Bernice dancing, and then the song goes, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know what that is. So other than that, she's the only other one that I know a small amount about.
Mhm. We might have already sort of covered this, but another big question a lot of people had was throughout the entirety of Hugo's story, if there was a single moment that was emotionally difficult to get a handle on.
The stair scene
Hmm.
was challenging because I had to shut everything out. The other one that was challenging, kind of technically, was the scene where he's in his own mind.
Oh, right.
Because when we did it, we bounced back and forth between, evil Hugo and good Hugo. So I would have to switch gears. We would do um, good, and then we would switch to evil, and then we would switch back to good. So I would have to bounce back and forth. So you have to make sure you stay focused, make sure you don't like your vocal change, because for evil Hugo, they changed it um, in post, but I used a deeper voice for him
Mhm.
when I did it.
One one other bigger thing with his character that I hadn't brought up yet was your thoughts on his relationship with like sweet things, candy, and all that.
I think that because he suffered the trauma because of it, um, it's his way of coping with what happened to him in the past. That's why he learned to bake. So this, at least in my own head canon, when he did it, he bakes because it was his way of turning something that was bad into something that he can now handle because he's in control of it. Even if he has a habitual need to consume the sweets, which is you when you asked, is there anything personal that you bring to it? That's me. I have a sweet tooth that's really really bad. So for example, I I made this to have, and I sat there. I'm like, I took a sip and I went, "That's purple. That's going to get on your teeth as you're doing the interview. Don't drink that. That is a terrible, terrible plan."
What is that?
It's a raspberry lemonade, and then I took the butterfly tea, the butterfly flower tea, and then I
Mm,
made that tea and I poured it on top. I keep getting things for like, here's how to make those fancy drinks you always see in boba shops and coffee shops. And I was like, you know what? I can do it. So I started learning how to do it.
Okay.
That's it.
I did have one of his lines from the data events. If I put it in chat, if you could read it as him.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay. Which one is it? I used to love chocolate too. But since that day, even chocolate has become like an instrument of torture in my mind.
Thanks. Is there well, this is kind of a more funny question too, but how do you think Hugo would react to finding out about a fan base for him?
My gut instinct, he would revel in it. Because his classic pose is always with his arms out wide, or the one where he pulls his hair back and he's like looking from the side, grinning. I think he would revel in it. I think this would be his moment to shine. And it's if I had now that I had never actually thought of something like that. He would probably it would it would cause him to hesitate, and then it would make him smile. And then he might get a little addicted to it because his entire past was people rejecting him. And this is finally people appreciating him, even if he is, being grandiose about it. I think he would revel in it. I think he would actually really, really like it, unless he has to do business and work and people are recognizing him, and now he can't steal anything anymore besides hearts.
Generally, too, I'm sure you've gotten asked this before, but some people did want me to ask what your like personal advice is for people that are starting out in voiceover.
Ooh, okay, all right. If you're just starting and you just kind of want to try it out, you need to be very, very good at cold reading. And for me, when you train and things of that nature, you can set a regimen for yourself if you want to. If you want to. Do it however makes you comfortable and you feel is best. You don't have to do it someone else's way if that's not going to work for you. Read out loud, read plays out loud, read books out loud. Um, Even if you're just sitting there doing something, read whatever you're reading on online out loud, just to get used to getting your eyes and your brain to connect to reading things on the go in the moment because you're going to need it, especially if you're doing video games. You're not going to get the script ahead of time to look it over and practice the lines. You just have to be able to go. That's going to be the one you're going to be able to do for free. It is not about the voice. The one thing that a lot of people mistake is that um, you have to make a voice, create a funny voice. Because anybody can do a funny voice. That doesn't matter. That's not going to book you the role. The key is to be a good actor, just at the core. Understand why things are happening. Being able to not only understand the why, but the environment that you're currently in will change how you do a scene completely. Uh, because if the line is, let's go over there, if you're in on a couch in a living room, it could just be as simple as let's go over there. But if you're outside at a concert, it's going to be a very different way of doing it. So you have to make sure you know the environment that you're in when you're doing it. I'm trying to think of ways to do this because when you decide to finally dive in and start getting training, and yes, you will need some training. And training can be very expensive. I'm going to start with this statement. There are coaching things out there that are going to scam you or try to scam you. They will be, usually they're in the price range of $1,000 to $4,000. And they'll say, we're going to train you for a week and you're going to be amazing. I can already see your talent. I've heard you read. You have wonderful skills. And at the end of that week or 2 weeks or whatever it is, we're going to make you a demo and it's going to sound amazing because you're so good already. Uh, and then you're going to end up with something that you dropped 4Gs on and is not going to get you any work at all because you need to make sure you have the right coaches and the right training. Training for decent training is going to cost you anywhere between $150 to maybe about $250, maybe more, depending on who you're training with. You have to make sure you're going to hear this a lot in interviews and when you're at anime conventions and stuff like that. And this is the question that always comes up. You have to make sure that you vet the coaches. Don't be afraid to ask people online. Um, one of the people that I personally have trained with is Dave Fenoy.
Hmm.
Dave Fenoy is a very good coach. He is a very kind coach, and he is an extraordinarily talented gentleman. He When looking for coaches, keep in mind, coaching and teaching falls on a spectrum of what kind of teachers you're going to get. The way I identify it in my mind is you're going to have the empath. The empath is the person who's going to say something like, okay, now let's breathe and let's get into our bodies and settle in. Now I want you to focus your energy here, and now bring the energy here. And they're going to be very, let's get in your body. Now figure out where your character lives in your body. So when I trained with some empaths, this is why Hugo exists like this. When I perform Hugo, he exists in this model here. That's what I
Hmm.
pulled from the teachers that taught me that. They're generally going to be very empathetic and understanding about the way they will correct you, uh, but they're the opposite end is the 1920s ballet teacher who does not take any failure or error. They will hit you with a blunt, honest opinion, and if you do it wrong, you will know. And that can be devastating sometimes, especially in this field where you're like, did I do okay? And they'll be like, no, you did not. You need to do this, this, and this. Do it again. So then you will try and do it again, and you won't do it again, and you won't succeed. And then they'll be like, no, you didn't do it properly. Go back, think about why you are doing, and you'll feel this big when like they're like reprimand. It's not really a reprimand. They're trying to build you up. It's very much like watching any anime or martial arts film where the sensei is like, "No, do it again. You need to move this boulder 4 miles uphill." Uh, they're going to be strict on you. But when you do it right, and they say, "Yes, you know you did it right." The other one is the
Hmm.
hybrid, the one in the middle, who will somewhere fall in between the strict and the empathy. And that for me personally was kind of where Dave Fenoy lived. He is strict and he will tell you when you are wrong. But he will be understanding of knowing that maybe you're just starting. Maybe we need to adapt and adjust, sort of thing. Me as a teacher, I probably fall somewhere between the empath and the hybrid because in my teaching perspective, I have gone moments where I went into the 1920s ballet teacher. And some of my students were like, you were so funny and nice. What happened? I'm like, because we're in a place with fire, electricity, and buzz saws. And I need to make sure that you survive. This is why I'm very strict. You like anime, right? And they're like, yeah, I love anime. I'm like, congratulations. You now have an anime sense. And they go, oh, I get it now. But for me, I fall generally in between the empath and the hybrid because as a teacher, you are the river. You are the river
Mhm.
that's moving the boat, which is your student, downstream. And no matter if you are a gentle river, the boat's still going to go downstream. If you decide to increase the rapid a little more, the boat will move more. But if you come at someone with a raging rapid right away, you're going to capsize the boat, and that actor or that person might never want to become an actor ever again. And you need to be, it's called differentiated instruction. You need to adapt and differentiate your teaching style according to the student, and that is how you will be able to get them into the rapids, by adjusting how fast you want the river to move.
I did want to ask specifically, because I did see on your resume that you took training with Crispin Freeman.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Crispin understands. He is very understanding of what it takes in this field. He is very strict. I loved training with him, because he will help to hone and sharpen you to where you're supposed to be. But if he will teach you the professionalism that is needed in the field, and oftentimes can be found lacking in those that nobody teaches. And it's the professionalism that exists in, I'm going into the booth, how should I behave, what is the proper techniques that I should use, how should I be adapting to the script. um, he is strict, but he is good. He is very good.
I don't know. I don't know if you hear this too, but I think your both your guys' natural speaking voices are similar.
Yeah, the baritone basically.
Is there something that you want to say to Hugo's fandom and like fans of your performance for him?
Thank you, truly. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart. I got to see some of the comments that you've said, and like I can't even, like, when I'm reading them, I have this stupid grin on my face as I'm reading them, and it really, it does mean the world to me. Thank you so much.
I meant to say this at the beginning, but for me too, your acting as Hugo is some of the best I've heard in a video game. Period.
Oh, 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 you're gonna make me all emotional. Oh, stiff upper lip. Thank you.
Yeah,
Truly, thank you so much. That I
yeah.
can't even begin to tell you how much that means to me,
Mhm.
because I've been fighting to do this for a long time. And oh, to go back. If you are starting this and you are deciding to do this, you, I can say with 90 to 95% certainty, you are going to make sacrifices to do this. Just so everybody knows and understands, voice acting is one of three jobs that I do. And I don't mean three voice acting jobs, I mean three different jobs. Because and everybody, I think, has an understanding of how hard it is to just get by, as it is right now. So you will have to have multiple ways of either supplementing your health insurance, or if you're not getting health insurance already, you will need to find ways of paying for your training. You will need to find ways of just being able to have a little bit of cushion money, because uh, if you're driving to your sessions and your car breaks down, you might lose the gig, and you need to be able to afford to pay the car, if to fix the car, if you can't do that session and get that money from that session. So you'll figure it out. You'll make it work, and everybody's journey is going to be different, because this is not a go to school, get the degree, apply for jobs, get the jobs. Now I'm working that job for, 20 years. This is I got a gig. I got the role. I do the role. All right, I need to audition some more. I didn't get anything. Nothing, 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 nothing. Gig. Oh, I got another gig. Oh, I got another gig. Oh my gosh, how do I schedule this? What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. And then you might hit a cool period again. So you adjust, you modify, learn as you go. Please, Don't stress yourself overly stress yourself out. It's a step-by-step process. It's, you know, people always say it's a marathon. It is. It is. And it's okay to sometimes walk the marathon and then do a fast run.
It does tie into my final question too. It's always asking, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, could you say that again?
What do you want your legacy to be?
In acting in general or just like life?
Usually people answer for both.
Okay. Um, in acting, let's say, for example, from this moment on, today, I get no other roles ever again. I've already achieved 90% of the bucket list I had set for myself. I am okay with not. I try. I'll be unhappy that I don't get any more roles, obviously, but it is okay because I set an objective. I achieved said objective, and the only thing I want is that I made someone happy, that I made them laugh, that I made them I made them realize something about themselves, that I just maybe helped to ease a burden because they just needed to get away from whatever was happening outside and they just needed an escape. If I did that, I succeeded. In life, just to make sure that my daughter has the best life she can, that I'm setting a good example for her, that it's okay to follow your dreams. It's okay to try. And it is most importantly okay to fail. Because in this field, you will fail over and over and over again. And it doesn't mean you're a failure. You only technically truly fail if you give up. So it's okay to not get a role, to do badly in a role, and then lose said role, to go back and try again, get better, and then you do well in the role, and then you audition a bunch and still not get it. That's normal. It's normal. It's okay.
Thank you. I'm glad that we got to do this.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'll be sure to send this to you once I have it uploaded too.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Chris. See you.